NAMM 2012 news brought to you by Groove 3.
Hey, it's Russ from NAMM 2012, and I'm here with Matthew Werner from Wavemachine Labs, and we're talking about Auria, 48 tracks on an iPad, and it's no toy. It's a pro application. Tell us about first the vision behind it.
Well, that's entirely what we were imagining. We wanted to do something that was a full-blown audio recording, editing, and mixing system on the iPad with all the portable features that the iPad offered. We've done some other iOS apps before this, things like VoiceBand and iGog, which are a little more consumer-oriented ones. But we basically made what we wanted, which was a bit of a more portable system for the iPad, and yeah, on an iPad too. We were pretty amazed ourselves to find out that we could be able to play back 48 tracks with real-time effects, with full mixing, automation, and non-destructive sample-accurate editing, all built in right on just one app on the iPad.
So, you go into product development. Who was this aimed at? What's the vision behind this?
Well, it's we're definitely aiming this towards users who are familiar with current DAWs on the market, that were looking for something that they could use outside of the studio, even outside of the house. So we wanted to create an interface that was very familiar, not really dumbed down very much, that offered pretty standard DAW type operations, so that someone who is familiar with Pro Tools or Nuendo or Logic or Digital Performer would be able to sit down in front of it and intuitively know what's going on and be able to get around the mixer, being able to get around the editor. And we also included tools like AAF support, so someone can actually take a project from Auria, load it right into Pro Tools or vice versa, and keep all their edits and their automation and things like that.
So that's, I suppose, my next question. Is this a replacement for those workflows, or is it part, are you thinking, these pros are on the road, they want more than just a few stereo tracks, they want something that's pretty robust and is pretty painless to move back and forth?
Exactly.
Was that the view behind it?
That's essentially the idea. Being able to say, maybe start in a DAW like Pro Tools, be able to do a recording, transfer it on the iPad, take it on the road, be able to overdub some parts while they're traveling, or probably even more interestingly, being able to take the iPad and record remotely, even doing some editing and mixing while they're traveling, take it home, transfer it, or take it to the studio, transfer it into the workstation of their choice, and continue working. We really wanted to be able to, make that as seamless and as intuitive as possible for users that were already working on full-blown desktop or laptop DAWs that wanted even that extra level of portability.
Okay, so right now I think it's 44.1 kilohertz.
That's,
which for a lot of the pros, I saw a comment on one post the other day that said 44.1 wasn't good enough.
Well,
Are you working towards higher resolutions?
We'd love to support more. It's currently a restriction on the iPad. It can do 24-bit, but yeah, it is currently fixed at 44.1. So that's certainly something that we'd love to be able to implement to take it to like 96K. It would be fantastic. At the same time, as Apple keeps updating and refreshing the iPad series, making them more powerful, adding more storage, I mean, the sky's really the limit. So while we're intending this, our main vision was as something that was nice and portable, but familiar to professional and higher-end DAW users. More and more, things are moving in this direction. I mean, it's pretty soon. I mean, the difference between a laptop and a tablet, I mean, those lines are already blurred, and eventually they're going to disappear altogether. So we wanted to be kind of really kind of pushing that a little bit.
So I appreciate file support, the AAF support, importing and exporting the digital domain. Audio, in terms of interface support, are you getting some buy-in from the interface developers, the hardware developers, so people can use? Name some names of interfaces that will work on this right now.
We've done, for example, there's a PreSonus line of interfaces up through their 18 channel, the 1818. We've recorded 18 tracks simultaneously onto an iPad 2. We've recorded with some Focusrite interfaces, Tascam interfaces. RME, just at the show, is introducing a brand new multi-channel interface that supports what's the USB Class 2 compliant hardware, which is what the kinds of devices that Auria works with. It'll work with pretty much any stereo USB audio interface. But once you get into these Class 2 compliant devices, yeah, we're starting to see being able to push more and more tracks of recording simultaneously.
Let's bring the camera in and get it down on the iPad,
Sure.
Eric, and let's just, can you give us kind of a quick guided tour of kind of the highlights of this interface? Sure. So that's obviously the mix window.
So yep, we're on our main, on the main mix window here. And we're starting some playback. You see we have currently about a 34 track project with 4 subs and aux ends. We see our individual meters. One thing that's really nice about the iPad is the fact that it's both, we're running in landscape mode, but if we switch this over to portrait mode by simply picking up the iPad, you see it changes orientation. Now we have full 100mm throw faders. So for fine-tune volume control and something that's, again, pretty intuitive and recognizable to a mixer. We can come in. We partnered with PSP AudioWare. They're offering a number of included effects processing. There's a PSP channel strip on every channel with their EQ and dynamics processing, compression, gates, expander, even saturation, so that there's tons of flexibility and built-in effects. They even have some mastering, a master strip on the master fader with their brand new bus compressor, which is a great sounding 2-bus compressor. We've even though opened it up so that third-party plugin makers can offer their own software through Auria. We have a few things in place with a couple third-party manufacturers. PSP will be offering additional plugins, as well as FabFilter and Overloud and several others are going to be offering their own plugins, so you can actually load them through an in-app purchase through Auria.
So are you interested in talking to the other plugin manufacturers and talking to them about the SDK and stuff and getting them over on this?
Yeah, we've been talking to pretty much as many as we can because we'd love to see as many plugin makers offering their plugins through here as possible. Yeah.
So there's no closed shop there. It's you want to make this as open as possible.
Oh, certainly, yeah. We want to make this as open and as and make it as easy for both the plugin manufacturer, other plugin manufacturers, and the end users to be able to get new plugins and things loaded right onto their iPads.
Okay, so that's the mix section. Can we look at the edit section?
Sure. Go ahead and close this and toggle over to the mix window here. So use the standard iPad gesture controls. So we can come in, let's zoom out, take a look more at some of the overview of some of the tracks here. If we want to zoom in, back we can do a pinch, be able to scroll a little bit here. Anyone who's familiar with an iPad already pretty much knows all the gestures that go into working with this.
And how would an edit take place there, if you wanted to cut that, please?
Yeah, so if you want to be able to, we can work with a couple things. We have a highlighting tool, so someone can come in, be able to drag, be able to highlight a section, be able to trim that very easily, maybe separate that into separate regions. Now we can take and grab a region, be able to pick up, drag that. Let's take this one, be able to move one, slide that over. There's little handles, so when we want to be able to trim, whoop, I grabbed the wrong spot there. You can come in and trim an individual region here. Here we go. By grabbing down by the corners, and now we have, you can trim the heads or tails in between regions, be able to drag and add fades directly on here, as well as full-blown envelope-based automation. Again, something that should be familiar to most DAW users, be able to add points, be able to draw automation right here in the editor, do a little volume automation. They can also do that from the mix window also. They can do full, all the elements of the mixer are automatable, as well as plugins. The plugins are automatable as well.
Talking about scale of projects, if this is aimed at the professional, they're working with pretty big projects. What kind of things have you seen running on this without it falling over and running out of kind of energy?
Well, like any DAW, there's a bit of resource management that goes on. With an iPad 2, well, I mean, first there's storage. I mean, you can record with like the 16 gig version, but the 32 and obviously the 64 gig versions of the iPad offer a lot more recording time. But yeah, the CPU is more powerful than a lot of people would give it would imagine right out of the gate. We've been able to have on on a 48-track session, being able to run like 20 channel strips from PSP plus a convolution reverb and a couple other things all at the same time. But no matter what as soon as you start including plugins, someone's always going to take it to the limit. So we included track freezing, pretty standard operation. You just one button to automatically bounce in place and bypass the effects, so that once someone has some tracks EQ'd how they want, they can very easily freeze them, unfreeze to be able to tweak it. But that's something that as the iPad keeps refreshing, it's going to do nothing but go up the built-in processing power. So, but most of the plugins are all the plugins are fine-tuned to for the iPad. So some of the third-party ones are going to be scaled back a little bit just to be better optimized on here. But we're spending a lot of time just trying to tweak things to run as well as we can on the iPad, and that's probably an advantage. Is the fact that we're not taking existing DAW and trying to port it over. I mean, from the beginning, from the ground up, everything about Auria was designed to run specifically on an iPad. So,
okay. The final question, of course, is shipping time, shipping dates, and price to market in US dollars.
Yep.
What are you aiming for?
We're aiming for a price $49.99 US on the App Store. We're probably looking at about 2 months away at this point. We pretty much have all the features in. We're mainly doing beta testing from this point on, and getting other third-party plugin companies and others, trying to find as many as we can before launching. But we'll be adding more even after it comes out, after it launches in about 2 months.
Matthew, brilliant achievement. Well done, you guys. It's really exciting.
Yep.
And have a great NAMM.
Great. Thanks
for
very
your time.
much. All right.